Good evening, everyone. So we are starting the Cognicia's this webinar. Once again, good evening, everyone. We welcome you all to this webinar. It is being organized by Cognitia on AWS platform. In this webinar, we are taking an intermediate level of topic. We are assuming that you have a little idea about cloud computing. But in case if you don't have, no worry, I'll try to explain you. Today, we'll talk about deployment of a web application using AWS Elastic Beanstalk. Before start of this webinar, I would like to share some facts, some points. The duration of this webinar is approximately 90 minutes. And as we are seeing, the large number of people joining this webinar, and it's obvious a lot of questions will be raised. So at the end of the session, we'll try to answer your questions, but due to time constraint, might be we can miss some questions. In such cases, you may drop your questions to support@cognitia.com, right? I suggest everyone at the end of the session, separately, we will spare some time for questions and answers. To avoid a flow of webinar in the middle of the session, this will not be possible to attend any question. And I think I'm audible very clear to everyone. So without consuming much time, let's start this session. So very first, I would like to give a brief introduction about our company, Cognixia. Cognixia is an award-winning training arm of Collabora. Cognixia delivers the training in more than 45 countries worldwide. As of now, more than 30,000 professionals has been trained worldwide. And by the way, this could be an old figure. We have been trained more than given numbers. We have more than 450 happy corporate clients across the globe. We also have a large team of industry professionals. More than 7,000 industry professionals and subject matter experts are the part of our team. Furthermore, we are the authorized global training partner of popular brands such as Red Hat, Automation Anywhere, ITIL, ISC Square, and we are silver partner of Microsoft. In short, I can say that the achievement Cognitia has, it's incredible in a very short period of time, and we have a long list of achievements which has proven our business dedication and perfection with the quality. Cognitia is consistently making a significant mark in the world of digital technology training by providing the best-in-class training and certification to students, professionals, and corporate workforce. Cognitia has been awarded with the title Best Emerging Technology Training Organization, which was held in Dubai. And not only this, the Cognitia also has been awarded as Training Company of the Year by World HRD Congress for Excellent in Training Asia. In addition, Cognitia is listed in the top IoT training companies for second consecutive year and Best Emerging Technology Training Organization in the Middle East. And because of time constraint, I included a few awards. However, there is a long list of achievements. So this was a brief introduction about Cognitia. So next is Cognitia is delivering the training on industry's most demanding technologies and certifications such as AWS Cloud Computing, Azure, IoT, Big Data, Cloud Computing, cyber security, machine learning, artificial intelligence and deep learning, robotics, blockchain technologies, DevOps, and many more. So this was a list of training Cognitia deals with, right? So next slide, the Cognitia is committed to delivering the outstanding training and certification in digital technologies that are shaping the future. We bring the best learning experience for the both individual and organization. So we have some master course in machine learning. We have master courses in cloud computing, Azure IoT, React.js, and many other options we have. You can just go and see on website. So advantages of e-learning with the Cognitia, these are some features we are just trying to explain you. So the very first is the simplified learning process, streamlined training process, assessment and evaluation capabilities. We have a recorded session. Every candidate will have the recorded session. Once the training is completed, later on you can choose a recorded session to just if you want to review. Tracking and reporting features, and reference material, and you will have access over LMS for lifetime, and many more online features we have, and this is an incredible. So deploying web application with the AWS Elastic Beanstalk. So now it's time I would like to give my short introduction about me. My name is Sanjay Sharma and I'm the presenter of this session. By profession, I'm a subject matter expert, training and technology consultant, and instructor for various technologies. I have more than 18 years of experience in the field of corporate training, in project management, in business operations, and as a subject matter expert with some reputed companies. So my area of expertise in IT training with AWS cloud computing, cybersecurity, Red Hat Linux, VMware data center virtualization, and TCP/IP networking. So I've been delivered more than 100 corporate trainings in last couple of years, and I think this is sufficient for you to just know about me. So in addition, we are also considering here the attendees of the webinar could be beginner for the cloud computing, or you may have a good experience in your current field. So basically, we are delivering this webinar to mixed kind of our uh, uh, crowd. And okay, now we need to just focus on our learning path. So if you see the agenda slide here we discuss about the agenda of our webinar. The very first, we will start with some little introduction with AWS and its scope. And then we'll come to our main topics like Lambda functions, Elastic file system, and Route 53. So main topic of this session is AWS Elastic Beanstalk. Next is this will be the flow of webinar. First of all, we'll start with the cloud computing. Then we'll talk about some AWS cloud computing, means an introduction of AWS cloud computing. Then introduction with AWS Lambda, EFS, and Route 53. Of course, Lambda, EFS, and Route 53, we are not taking the labs of these topics, but I'll try to explain you why means people are using Lambda, EFS, and Route 53 in AWS, because in AWS we have more than 170 fully featured services. So Lambda, EFS, and Route 53 is basically out of them. Now, Elastic Beanstalk is our main topic, and I'll try to just cover the complete lab activity related to Elastic Beanstalk, right? So let's start with the introduction with the cloud computing. I think now you are just please just concentrate here, because your questions I'll take at the end of this session, right? So what is the cloud computing? Cloud computing is a type of internet-based computing where you can deliver IT infrastructure and software application related to services. Because normally people think about the cloud computing is the storage. Some people say it's basically only infrastructure, but on cloud computing we have three different kind of a model, like infrastructure as a service, a platform as a service, and a software as a service. So in the easiest term, the cloud computing defines a storing and accessing data and programs over the internet from a remote location. In other words, the cloud computing term used for delivery of hosted services over the internet. So the very simple definition, a very simple definition I'm telling you, if somebody is asking you what is a cloud computing, so simple definition is hosted services over the internet. So this explains about the cloud computing. But according to AWS definition, AWS has a little different definition here. It refers to basically on-demand delivery of IT resources and application via the internet with pay-as-you-go pricing model. So AWS is more or less concentrating on the pricing as per the pay-as-you-go pricing model. AWS charges on per hour basis. Let's say if you use a resource over AWS for 2 hours, so AWS will charge only for those 2 hours, right? Now this way you can control a billing amount. If service is not required, if the service is not needed, you can stop your resources. So this is a good thing. So this way you can just control the pricing of this AWS. Next is cloud computing service provider. So looking for the public cloud solution for your company. We have a number of cloud providers these days, but a few are basically we are feeling that these are the best. For example, Amazon Web Services, Microsoft Azure, Google Cloud Platform you can choose them. So these are three top, like Amazon, Microsoft, and Google. But we have few more like Alibaba, Rackspace, Verizon, VMware, DigitalOcean, right? So many other. So means if you just talk about the cloud computing, not the public cloud, if you're just thinking, because we have the two different kind of a cloud computing. One is for only specific for the corporates, and another is for the public. So we are just talking about the public cloud computing. So in public cloud computing, Amazon, Azure, and Google cloud platforms are basically main names. I'll talk about later on actually the certification also, Kedar. Okay. Now, next is the trends in AWS cloud computing and industry views. Here, I would like to tell you that despite all challenges in this pandemic, the cloud computing field is an industry sector, or is the basically industry sector where you can measure the or you are measuring the growth. This is the only sector where you are measuring the growth, and the demand is consistent, or you can say the demand consistency can be seen. So almost all business houses are now relying on cloud computing to automate their work and to save the cost as well, right? So AWS is a major player. AWS is a major player in our this slide. If you see the comparison among AWS, Azure, and Google Cloud, we clearly see the market share of AWS is approximately 62%, and the compared to other cloud platform, this difference is huge. And to see the percentage figure, you can easily measure the popularity of Amazon Web Services. In 2006, AWS started IT infrastructure services. Now it is commonly known as AWS Cloud Computing. So AWS support all three models of cloud computing, like infrastructure as service, software as service, and platform as service. So each model represents a different part of cloud computing stack. AWS offers as pay as you go approach for pricing for over 175 cloud services. So more than 175 fully featured cloud services you can find on AWS. So AWS pricing is very similar that how you pay for water and electricity bill. So you only pay for the services you consume, and once you stop using them, there is no additional cost for or there is no fees for termination, right? So AWS market share is huge. This is the conclusion, and even the certification of the AWS are globally recognized. Means if you do AWS certification, we have the many certification. At the end of this session, I'll talk about AWS certification. We have basically three main verticals, and we have some specialty certification in AWS. If you see features of AWS, you find everything you need available at your fingertips. Now, this is AWS, a free tier slide. So in this, I'm just trying to explain you what is an AWS free tier. So AWS free tier is a basically account. So AWS provides a significant feature for learners to hands-on this platform. AWS free tier account. So AWS free tier account is absolutely free of cost for 1 year with some limitations. Limitation, why I'm saying, because we have some caps on some services. As you see the screen, you can open an AWS free tier page and see those limitations. I can also just explain you here, but because of the time limitation, we need to cover 4 topics here today. in 90 minutes. And today, to demonstrate activities, we are going to use a free tier account. And AWS free tier account sign up process is very, very simple. The only thing is you needed either the debit card or a credit card to register a free tier account. And once you register, you easily access, you get an access over AWS free tier account for 1 year. So the free tier is designed to give you hands-on experience. AWS provides this excellent opportunity to businesses and individuals for testing and learning purposes. Right now, this is your AWS management console. So when you log in, the first screen you see after logging into AWS management. So this is the AWS management console. Means when you log in into your account, you get this first screen. So it is used to access and manage AWS services using web browser. So this AWS management console facility cloud management for all aspects. You see list of services on this console home, and you can see all services are separated by group name. So these are the basically the group name, like the compute, satellite, security, identity and compliance, management and governance. All these are the basically the groups. So we if you're just approaching or you are just preparing for the certification, especially for AWS solution architect, we have main groups like compute, storage, database, networking and content delivery, and some security, identity and compliance. And in these 4 or 5 groups, you will have more than 30-40 services, right? So each group has a number of services, and you can also utilize the search functionality to find appropriate service by its name. Because if you see more than 175 services are there, maybe you are using IoT or machine learning or artificial intelligence, so you can find the services for every need. Now this is here, this is a kind of basically one diagram. I'm just trying to explain you that this is your AWS network and or AWS infrastructure you created on AWS cloud, and this is your on-premises. So we have some the connectivity features with AWS, which provides a high bandwidth connectivity and dedicated connectivity between your on-premises and AWS cloud environment. So this way you can create a hybrid kind of environment or a hybrid cloud you can create. So this is one more feature I'm just trying to tell you, that is a global infrastructure. So as we know, the global infrastructure is a vast topic, because I'll be taking on a very simple here and the least here. So to just clear the concept, I'll take it in brief. So if you see world globe, you can find some actually dots here, right? These are the dots. These are the dots. So these the dots I'll just explain you. It's better means if I just do open some. Okay, just give me 1 second. AWS global infrastructure. You can also open if you want to see. Right. Yeah. This is your AWS global infrastructure, right? So if you see, means you can just move this map and you can understand about all the regions, and let me tell you here. Yeah. Okay. I think you can see some regions here, like these are the orange color dots. These are the regions. What are the regions? Regions are geographical location. So almost we have the 24 geographical location right now, and every region is separated by a separate geolocation. So this way, approximately 24 regions we can see in AWS infrastructure, like North Virginia, Ohio, Singapore, London, Sydney, Mumbai, and many others. And you can also see some blue dots near every region. These are the blue dots, right? So these are basically availability zone. What are the availability zone? Availability zone is basically the group of data centers. So each region further, because every region has some availability zones, and every region has at least 2 or 3 availability zone, and some regions have some 6 availability zones. So you can find the maximum availability zones in North Virginia. I'll just explain you in training everything in very detail, because of the time limitations, I cannot explain you technically in very detail. But availability zones are basically a cluster of data center in a particular region. And this way, if you see, AWS cloud infrastructure is distributed very technically and available to everyone with a minimum latency. And dots in purple color you see here, the dots in purple color you see here, these are basically edge locations, and edge locations are used to deliver basically the contents with the minimum latency. So basically, for we are using the edge locations for CDN purpose, and AWS provides and services in more than 190 countries throughout the world. One more thing, AWS is using Zen hypervisor. Maybe some people are new for virtualization, or if you have some idea about the virtualization. So I'm just telling you in brief. So AWS is using Zen hypervisor in their data centers to manage hardware resources using Zen. And it is using AWS is using Xeon processor in their data centers to provide high performance servers even. So they are using Zen hypervisor, and they are using Xeon processors in their data centers. And further explanation and the details about global infrastructure I'll cover in training. But one thing is important to know for you. So when you create a virtual machine, or you can say the virtual machine is known as EC2 instance here, the first you select a region, you decide in which region you are just going to create that virtual machine, and then you select an availability zone in which you would create that instance. So we will learn all these concepts in AWS training, right? So this diagram is very important. This is trying to tell you that this is a region. It picked one region. So this is a region, and within the region we have multiple availability zone, and every availability zone is a group of data center, right? These are the group of data center, and these group of the data centers are connected through some edge locations. Edge locations are basically mini data centers, you can say. Okay, so this is the thing. Next is I'm just continuing with this. Now we are just talking about what you can do with AWS cloud computing. So this is very important. Means the people try to understand means what we can do. I think Lens or Abraham, whatever the question you have, we will just speak about those questions, and I'll try to answer those questions at the end of the session. If I'm just attending right now the question, it will definitely in the flow of this webinar. So this is for everyone. So you please give some time to me. Now, so what you can do with AWS cloud computing, you can create infrastructure, you can create any type of implementation model like public, private, or hybrid. AWS has large set of services for various purposes. AWS has infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software as a service support services. And we have enhanced security in AWS. SQL and NoSQL database can be managed. SQL is basically managed by RDS, NoSQL managed by DynamoDB. And data warehousing that can be done by Redshift. Machine learning and artificial intelligence coding can be done using AWS environment, and a lot more things that we'll explore. Okay, now why only AWS? The people have some questions, because we have the number of the cloud environment or cloud providers. So why we have or why we are choosing AWS? Number one, AWS presence. AWS is if you're talking about the global infrastructure, so AWS is the largest global infrastructure, and they are continuously increasing their infrastructure, and it is highly available and durable, and it is for all sort of models like infrastructure as service, platform as service, and software as service. We have the largest number of services. If you're talking about all services, like the major services and the minor services, more than 1,400 total number of services we have in AWS. AWS also does provide a free tier account for practice and learning. This is a great thing, and this account is valid for 1 year. And AWS documentation means each and every concept you can find very clearly with some labs practices, best practices, right? Everything is there, and of course in last, AWS certification, which is globally recognized. So these are the basically some reasons we are selecting AWS. And now in today's topic, we'll talk about Lambda, EFS, Route 53, and then we'll just go for some lab activities related to Elastic Beanstalk, right? I think it's time to start now. In this session, we are covering only the conceptual part of 3 topics like Lambda, EFS, and Route 53. And with these concepts, you will understand about them. You will have some technical idea about Lambda, EFS, and Route 53. You will come to know purposes of these services. However, AWS, we have more than 175 fully featured services, but we selected these for some reason, and I think these are very interesting to, if you want to know about what is a Lambda. Right now we are starting with the Lambda. So what is a Lambda actually? So here we just starting the first service, Lambda. So Lambda is a AWS service, okay, and this is a compute service. First of all, means it provides some the compute resources to run your code. But what is the beauty of this service? Because as you know that if you want to run some program, do you require any machine or not? If you want to run a program, do you require any machine or not? Of course, you require a machine, right? But AWS Lambda is a compute service. AWS Lambda is a compute service that lets you run the code without provisioning or managing server. Means if you're using a Lambda, you do not require any virtual machine in AWS. You can pass that code, Lambda will execute that code, and it will provide results. This is the excellent thing, right? So Lambda is not a small. Lambda is quite popular. So recently, Lambda has been or has become popular in AWS, but many people still use Lambda and the serverless interchangeably. So in this topic, we are just going to put some light on AWS Lambda, including how it ties into serverless architecture. So to understand what the Lambda is, we have to first understand what serverless architecture is all about. So serverless application in general are application that don't require any provisioning of server to run the code. So when you run a serverless application, you get the benefit of not worrying about the operating system setup or the patching management or scaling of servers that you would have to consider when you run your applications on a physical servers. So serverless application or a platform have 4 main characteristics. Number 1, the no server management is required in Lambda. Number 2, you do not require any EC2 instance. Actually, EC2 instance in AWS is a virtual machine. So the EC2 instance is not required, and it is flexible, means the scaling can be done, or you can say the load balancing can be done, and no idle capacity, means you have not to select how much CPU is required or how much RAM is required to actually execute the code. That can easily be selected, and that can easily be modified anytime for your Lambda function. So Lambda function is a kind of a service which allows you to execute codes in a serverless manner. So as we already discussed, the Lambda is a serverless. Why I'm just saying the serverless again and again, because you must understand this is serverless, and we know that every program or the code require some compute resources to execute the code. Means if you have a software, if you have an application and you want to execute, uh, this is very important. And if you want to automate some job through some coding, so Lambda function or Lambda service can be used, and it is very popular, and you can say incredible results of the practically if you try to use. Therefore, it is important to know right now, because if you just execute the code, and every code execution requires some CPU power and memory. So it is important to know, I mean, how much CPU power and memory is required to run the code for the smooth operation. I'll tell you, because in Lambda we can provide minimum 128 RAM MB to maximum 3 GB RAM to our code. So while we are just executing it, and you can also select the duration of duration in seconds for which the code runs, and means you have an option to select the code run time that can vary between milliseconds to some minutes in length, right? So I'll explain you everything technically in the training, but after a stipulated time, means if you see, let's say you are giving the 5-minute time to execute a code, and it doesn't actually executing it, or it is taking the more time, more than the 5 minutes. So in that case, that functions dies. And I think if you just technically see it, the Lambda takes a milliseconds to execute the code. And this is very, very important. Okay, so this is a kind of a service we are just popularly using it, and you can provide some code here. Let me show you. The practically I'm not taking it, but this is very simple to implement. Like I'm just taking a minute. Maybe I can show you here. Let's say this is your AWS management console. This is the very first screen. In this AWS management console, you have the group of services. Like the compute is a group, you can see the number of services here. This is the container services, you can see the number of services here. Like in storage, you have the different kind of storages like S3, EFS, and FSX, Glacier, storage gate. All these are basically the storage services. And you have the number of database services like the RDS, DynamoDB, Elastic Cache, the number of services you have, right? Next is a migration and transfer. Then the networking and the content delivery. This is a very important certification point of view if you're just looking for AWS Solution Architect certification. So these three services, like the compute, storage, database, these three from top, and this networking and content delivery. So very, very important services we have now, the VPC, CloudFront, Route 53. I'll talk about Route 53 even today. I'll take some concept of the Route 53. What is the Route 53? And I'll talk about this EFS also. Okay, so I'm taking one service from storage, and I'm taking one service from Route 53. And finally, I'll talk about Elastic Beanstalk, which is a compute service, and we'll take one lab through Elastic Beanstalk, and you will understand how it is very simple to just create your infrastructure automatically using Elastic Beanstalk, even if you don't have any knowledge about all these services, right? So this is the first screen. Of course, means if you are new, it's very difficult to just understand what I'm showing you, but at least you can understand that these are the groups, and under this group you have multiple services, right? Let's say I'm talking about a Lambda. Lambda also is a compute service. So this is the Lambda. If you click on Lambda, so this is the Lambda dashboard you see, right? So this is the Lambda dashboard. Okay, so I have a program. Actually, I have a function name. So this is running on Python. So you will have some program, and you want to, if you want to run it, you can pass that code and it will execute, and you can connect this with some output. You can find some output. Let's say what you can do with the Lambda. I'll tell you, because this is very important. The question will definitely rise in your mind. So what you can do with Lambda. Let's say you have 100 machines running in your organization, and 100 machines are running, right? And your manager says, means he wants to take actually, or he wants you to take the backup of all those 100 machines on a daily basis on a particular time. So if you are doing this job manually, so this will be a very difficult for you to just take the 100 machines snapshots or the backups. So what you will do, you will write a code, and that code will be responsible to take the snapshots of those EBS volumes, or you can say your EC2 instances or virtual machines. So that code will be responsible to take the backups of virtual machines. So when you run a code, it will automatically take the backups of all the machines on a particular time. It's mean you can schedule that particular action on a particular time. So it can be time based. So, and if you want to just run the code manually, you can run the code manually. Or if you want to make this Lambda function a part of some CI/CD. CI/CD is what? The continuous integration and continuous development. So this Lambda function can be a part of that CI/CD also. So means Lambda is a kind of a service. Any kind of a person, whether he's a architect in AWS, or he's a system engineer, or he's a developer, so anybody can use, because its applications are really wide. So this is the brief I was giving, because in order to create a function, you can create a function. You can just write it from scratch. You just do write actually the basic information. You can write the name of the function. Let's say I'm just writing the function name is 009, right? Please. Yeah. And here, these are the list of actually the languages or the support. It's mean the Lambda function can support .NET. It can support to Go, Java, Node.js, Python, Ruby. So all popular languages, means you can write a program in any language. If you know about .NET, or maybe C hash or PowerShell, or Go is a basically language from Google, Java, Node.js. So you can write program using any language, and you can easily pass. So Lambda will identify the language, and it will execute the code for you. It's an excellent thing, right? And so because why I'm not telling you, because the number of things are connected. In order to start this, I should tell you what is an IAM, what are the roles, what is the function of role, means why the roles are required. So that's why I'm just taking an introduction part of this. But ultimately, please let me know one thing you can answer me. So if somebody is asking you what is the Lambda function, what you will say about the Lambda function? What is the Lambda function? Guys, I'm expecting some actually response from your side. It's a compute service. It's a serverless computing service, or you can say it's a serverless service. You do not require EC2 instance or a virtual machine to run a code, right? So Lambda is a service which allows you to execute code in a serverless manner, and it does support the multiple compilers, means it supports almost all popular languages, right? Not an issue. I'm just moving ahead. Let me show you the second service, EFS. Okay, what is an EFS, by the way? What is an EFS? EFS is storage service. Am I right? Okay, I was not planning for EFS. So if you want, I can give a little introduction about this EFS. EFS is what? The first of all, I'm changing my mind. I'm just going to give some demonstration about the EFS also here, right? Will it work? Yes, not an issue, because too much theory definitely is not good for anybody. And my sessions are 100% practical, and in webinar I'm just talking about theory. So this is I cannot bear this kind of change now. Okay, by the way, EFS, what is an EFS? If you just go and see EFS, of course we have a slide for this. So this is the EFS dashboard, right? But what you can do with this EFS? So EFS is a storage service, of course. This is a storage service, but here you can see, yeah, this I think diagram will tell you a lot of things. Yes, sir, I'm just going to cover the practical of EFS, not an issue, right? We have, of course, we have very little time because the 90 minutes are not enough, but definitely I can I'll try to cover the part of this, right? So please do understand. So this is a kind of a diagram we have. You please see. So this is your region like North Virginia, Singapore. So I took a one region. So, and this VPC is a network within the region, and this VPC is connected with the internet gateway. Internet gateway is a kind of a actually the device in VPC which allows internet connectivity to your cloud environment, right? So without internet gateway, you cannot reach internet. So that's why the internet gateway is there with the VPC. VPC is what? VPC is a network. It's an isolated network within the region. And region is what? Region is a separate geographical location. And let's say we are using two availability or three availability zones. These are three availability zones in this region, and we have a number of subnets. These are basically the subnets, or you can say the part of network within this VPC. So these are three subnets. So one subnet is public, and rest two subnets are private. Public means whatever machine you will create here in a public subnet, this machine is reachable from internet. Means from internet you can directly reach this machine. So normally people launch their web application servers here or website servers here. So this is your the main instance, or this is your main EC2 instance, or EC2 instance is nothing but this is a kind of a virtual machine, right? So let's say what I'm just trying to say that this we have a one machine here, and we have the two machines in private subnets. So for my private subnet, this particular EFS also you can find, which is I written in little bigger fonts here. EFS is nothing, it's an elastic file system. So it's an elastic file system, and elastic file system is a storage, and this is a common storage for these two instances. Because in your company, maybe you are working with the multiple machines, and you are seeking a kind of storage which should be the common for all machines. So EFS provides a simple, scalable, and fully managed NFS file system in AWS environment. So EFS is basically using NFS. So this is a NFS. NFS is what? NFS is a I think means some people, if you have some idea about what is the NFS storage or NAS storage, maybe you know about the NAS storage. So EFS is basically the NAS storage in your AWS. So using EFS, you can create file system for your EC2 instances or virtual machines. Means you can create a common storage for your virtual machines within AWS environment, right? Storage sharing, yes. So this is a storage, this is a common storage for my all machines. So this can be a common storage. If you are looking to a common storage for your virtual machines, whether they are a Linux machine or a Windows machine, AWS EFS can connect with virtual machines as a common storage, and EFS uses NFS protocol. Yes, it can also work with the cross platforms. Yes, Bhanu. And Amazon EFS provides a shared access to data using the traditional file sharing permission model. Means you can compare this EFS with the on-premise premises NAS, means network attached storage. So you can compare this EFS with network attached storage in your physical data center or in your physical environment, and you would see usually in your corporate network, it is very simple. It provides a common storage for all instances running in your VPC. It's a matter of configuration only, right? So so it's simple to configure. It is a global, it is not a global resource, it is a region specific. SG is a security group. SG is a basically the firewall for your virtual machines, right? SG is a firewall which can allow or deny incoming as well as outgoing traffic. correct? No, you cannot specify IOPS on NFS. EFS here works with only Linux, and if you're talking about Windows machine common storage, we have FSX. Okay, I have very limited time, so I'm not talking about the components of this diagram. Like the number of components are there, like what is SG, what is NAT, what is actually NACL, what are the private subnets, what are the root table. RT1 and RT2 are the root tables. EFS is a common storage. So here you need to just concentrate here. EFS is a common storage for these EC2 instances, and these are my Linux machines, right? Okay, I'm really sorry, means I'm not delaying anyone. Yeah, please see. So this is the EFS, right? But in order to share your EFS, you must have machines, right? I do not have any machine. So what I'm doing, I'm just going to create a machine here. Let's say, first of all, you just go here, and I'm not explaining how I'm just creating the machine. It will take more time because my main topic is Elastic Beanstalk, right? So you just go to the running instances. You do not have any running instance. Of course, you have one stopped instance, of course. So either you can start it, or you can just launch an instance here. You give me 1 minute. Bastion host is basically jump server, Nikhil. I'm just choosing an image of operating system here, and this is your configuration of the machine, which is known as instance type t2.micro, because we are using a free tier here. And these are the network settings. I'm taking a default network setting here. I'm not making any changes here. And let's say you are creating two machines here instead of one machine, and you can add a storage. This is the hard disk size of your virtual machine in a simple language. By the way, we call it as an EBS volume, right? And add storage. And if you need to just tag the machine, let's say name of the machines are my application server, uh, application servers, right? Servers, and you are creating a security group. This is a security group, right? So this is a security group. Security group is a kind of a firewall. And because I'm using a Linux machine here, so the port number 22 should be open if you want to take remote of these machines later on. And now review and launch, and finally you review the screen and you launch the machine. So this way you are just going to create two machines in this North Virginia region. If you see top right, North Virginia, right now I'm in a North Virginia, right? And maybe I'm using here, yeah, I'm using here my a key pair which is already been created. So this is a DB instance key. I'm launching these two instances now. So by using it, you would see the two machines are being launched, right? And both machines are Linux machines. And we are just launching these two instances in North Virginia region. And these are the availability zones, US East 1. So both machines are in the same availability zones by default. Okay. So availability zones can be changed at the time of launch of the machines, because we together installed these machines in one go. That's why the availability zones for these two machines are common. Yes, sir, I can definitely, I'll ask them to share the recorded session, right? I think, Nikhil, it is clear the Bastion host is a jump server. Now, these two machines are now being initialized. So if you see the first machine, so this is the configuration of the first machine, right? This is the public IP address, and these are the basically details or metadata of this machine. If you see the next machine, and this is the next machine's configuration. So I'm not touching this part. Now we have two machines, right? I'm just going back to EFS. So what I'm doing, I'm making a kind of an EFS or elastic file system. I'm creating a kind of a common storage for these two machines or these three machines. Will it work? What exactly, why I'm creating this EFS? So I'm needing a common storage for all these three machines. Let's say I'm making third one also. Start here. You start the third machine. Now you will have the top, you will have 3 running machines in your region. Now, how to configure EFS? Of course, it was not a part of this session, but you people are saying so little things I'm just covering here. You create the file system, click on this. You just give the name to the file system. Let's say my EFS, okay, webinar. Okay, this is the name. This is the name. It's an optional, and this is the VPC in which you are creating this the file system, EFS file system, and we have the only one VPC right now. If you see, this is the basically isolated network within the region, VPC, virtual private cloud. Okay, you create it. Any number of machines can be connected. If you have 200 machines or 500 machines in the same region, even though you can use the same EFS, right? So, okay, so in one go, this has been created. This has been created. Can you see it? Great. So my EFS webinar. And how much time did you take to just create it? Hardly a minute or two. Even these machines are ready. If you just talk about all these machines are ready, you created 2 new machines and you created this EFS, right? And if you want to actually mount this volume, EFS volume with running instances, so what you will do, you will take these machines remote, you will open the command line interface, and you need to just run a mount command in these Linux machine in order to mount this EFS with these machines. Of course, this was not a part of this actually the session, but I shown means how we can just do it. And this is the basically a limitless. Any amount of data can be stored here. There is a no limit. Even you can store your data in petabytes. Okay, so EFS is easiest way to build file system. And if you're just looking for big data or data analytics or media processing workflow, EFS is very useful. And this can grow up to petabyte with low latency and high throughput. And its maintenance is free. This is a totally free. This is highly redundant. You have not to configure availability, high availability, fault tolerance, or space. So unlimited space you have, high availability you have, and you have the redundancy also. So EFS is very easy to set up because of its simple configuration setup and using Amazon AWS Management Console. One thing I'm not covering in this right now means how to mount this EFS with the EC2 instances, right, and Linux machines, of course. So by the way, these are the monitoring. You can just monitor your resources. You can monitor your EFS, and this is your network here. It will take time because this is very new. It is not connected with any machine as of now. So if you see the file system policies, okay, so this is the access point you have. If you click on access point, let me see here. Yeah, there's the access point. You can create an access point to just reach here, and this is the availability zones which supports this. Okay, but if you want to attach the volumes with the Miss EFS with EC2 instance, you have an attach button here. Do you see the attach button on the top right? You click on this attach, and it will guide you with the what command you will run, what commands you will run in your EC2 instances to mount this EFS with the EC2 instances. So it's very simple. So you will run this command, you will take the remote of the machine, and as you run this command, it will automatically mounted with your EC2 instances, and you can easily access. After running this command on multiple instances, means all instances can access now that common storage you have for your Linux machines, right? So the only one thing I just covered here. Next is I'm just going to have a little understanding about Route 53. Very interesting. What is in Route 53? Route 53 is a DNS service within AWS. Do you have some idea about the DNS server? The DNS servers? What are the DNS servers? Yes. If you have some idea about the DNS servers, you normally create a DNS servers in your physical data centers. And without DNS server, you cannot expect your the environment or infrastructure. So every infrastructure where you have the multiple servers or web application servers or the website servers or different kind of servers like Active Directory server, Kerberos servers, or some authentication server, definitely for them, you need a DNS server to resolve their names. So you can use Route 53 as a DNS service for your domain, such as abc.com you have for your organization, and you want to just maintain a actually the hosted zones or the resource record for them. Definitely you will use a Route 53. So Route 53 is your DNS service, and it routes internet traffic to your website by translating friendly domain name into IP addresses. So Route 53 is a highly available and scalable domain name system service, and you can use Route 53 to perform three main tasks. Please, three main tasks. I'm just you please see these are the three main tasks can be attended with the help of Route 53. Because so if you're creating a Route 53 or you are managing the Route 53 in AWS, it means there is a no need to create a separate EC2 instance for DNS server. So this is an inbuilt service for your DNS, right? Of course, just like Azure DNS. So the first thing is the domain name registration. So you can do three main tasks using Route 53. The first is domain name registration. If you want to create a website or a web application, you start by registering the names of your website, and that name is known as a domain name. So your domain name is the name such as example.com that your users enters into the browser to display your website, right? It's mean if you do not have a domain name, you can register using Route 53. Second is route internet traffic. It's very important. It basically routes internet traffic. So when a user opens a web browser and enters the domain name you have like abc.com in the address bar, so Route 53 helps connect the browser with your website or web application. So it basically routes the internet traffic to a particular application server or a web server. I'll tell you, means it's very interesting. Means if I'm just getting time, I can just take a minute to or to just give some demonstration kind of thing. But this service is not free of cost. It takes almost a $0.5 for every hosted zone. By the way, the health check for resources, the last option. So it checks the health of the resources you have, like the web application servers or web hosting servers. So if those are not reachable, it will provide some alternate path to provide the high availability, right? So Route 53 sends the automated request over the internet to resource such as a web server to verify that it's a reachable, available, and functional. So you also can choose to receive notification when a resource becomes unavailable and choose to route internet traffic away from unhealthy resources. So very interesting. In Route 53, we create hosted zone for each domain name. And one interesting thing that the same Route 53 service can handle multiple domains or multiple hosted zone. If I'm just talking about the hosted zone, so some people think about what is this hosted zone? Means where from basically it came this a new concept for me. No, hosted zone is a container for resource records. If you have some little idea, because in training I'll tell you each and everything in very detail, but the hosted zone is a kind of a container for resource record like A record, NS record, CNAME record, SRV record, MX record, all these are the records of the DNS servers, right? And these records comes under the hosted zones. If you have a hosted zone, within the hosted zone, you can create such kind of records. One more thing, when you create a resource records in Route 53, you can choose routing policy. So what is the routing policy? And the routing policy decides how to route internet traffic for the web application you have. And we have many routing policies, such as, means we'll cover in training in very detail. We have a simple routing policy, we have a failover routing policy, we have a geolocation routing policy, or geo proximity routing policy, latency routing policy, weighted routing policy. So almost 6 or 7 routing policies we have within Route 53. So this is very important to know about this particular thing, and this is almost impossible. It's almost impossible, or it is very difficult if you're just creating the such kind of DNS server in your own physical data center. So extraordinary service you have right now in your hand, Route 53, right? So means you have a very advanced DNS server in your hand in terms of AWS service, that is Route 53. Okay, very interesting topic. So we are just going to cover now the next lab, Elastic Beanstalk. Shall I take the Elastic Beanstalk first? So once we cover the Elastic Beanstalk, whatever the time we will have, then sir, failover policy. Yes, no. I was talking about the simple routing policy, failover policy, and failover routing policy, geolocation routing policy, geo proximity routing policy, latency routing policy, multi-value answer routing policy, and weighted routing policy. I cannot forget about all these things, because this is my you can say I'm giving the consultancies to companies about all about these. Okay, so all these terms are on my tips. Okay, so by the way, EKS is Kubernetes services. We have a course for EKS. We have definitely a course for EKS, right? Elastic Kubernetes services. So you are talking about the containerization, right? Or the container services. Yes, we have the ECS and EKS also. So we have a different course for this. Even I'm taking all this stuff in some, but those courses are different. But I think we are just covering in master course. So now we start with the next service, Elastic Beanstalk. Very interesting, and you will see how the things can happen in a few minutes. So with Elastic Beanstalk, what you can do means this is I just written down here everything. Means this is a very good brief about the service. Elastic Beanstalk, you can quickly deploy and manage applications in the AWS cloud without having to learn about the infrastructure that you have. Okay, and it's mean you don't know, if you don't know means how you can create a virtual machine or the network or other resources to run your application, you can use Elastic Beanstalk. Let's say, and this is a very good service for a very nice service for developers. Means the developers, they normally the focus on the area they normally focus on their core area, and the core area of the developers are the coding. Okay, so it will create actually the platform for your application to run, and this service is an excellent for developers and who have the limited knowledge about AWS infrastructure, or they don't know how they would create infrastructure for their application. So this is excellent. You create an application, you upload it, and you launch the automatically this Elastic Beanstalk creates an environment to launch this application, and everything is in front of you, and you will have an endpoint for that application to access it. So in a few minutes you can see everything will happen in front of you. This is a one-touch deploy, right? You please do understand this diagram. If you see this diagram, the Elastic Beanstalk, the entire picture will be clear. Like the Elastic Beanstalk, the first of all is AWS service, and with the help of Elastic Beanstalk, you can deploy, monitor, and scale an application in easy manner. You give me 10 minutes, maximum 10 minutes, then I'll attend your questions, right? an Elastic Beanstalk is a platform as a service. So this is a PaaS service within AWS. Elastic Beanstalk is a PaaS service which handles the capacity provisioning and app health monitoring and allows users to create application. If somebody don't have any idea, means if somebody has no idea about means how he can deploy or just manage all the resources to deploy a code, means this Elastic Beanstalk is incredible. It's been Elastic Beanstalk is creating a machine for you with a specified operating system which is required to run the code, and it will install the language interpreter within this machine. It will provide the application server as well as the configuration related to the HTTP, right? Everything will be managed by Elastic Beanstalk, and on the top of this you are providing your code to execute on this platform. So why I'm just telling you, you can understand Elastic Beanstalk more deeply if you should, or we should take, or we can just clear with the one example here. Suppose you are a developer and you are developing an application, right? And in order to launch your application in AWS, some important tasks need to be done. What important task? Means the first you will create an instance. Means you have to launch an instance, and that you saw that you have to launch an instance, you have to configure your security group, you have to just provide the private key to for that machine you will create, and you will manage it. Secondly, for deployment of application on a particular machine, you will log into that machine, you will set up the machine, you will install the desired the packages to execute the code you are just going to launch on the machine. And third, finally, you are third step is maybe you are using the elastic load balancer for your machine. Maybe you are going to use some auto scaling for your machine. So that configuration you will do separately if you're just managing everything your own. And finally, you upload some the code on the machine to execute. So this is very difficult. So wouldn't it be nice if all these tasks like the instance launch, application deployment, or AMI creation, or auto scaling management is being taken care by AWS service? So I'll say it's awesome, right? So it would be nice here because you can then only focus on a development part. So we have a service to ease our task called Elastic Beanstalk. Okay, so I'm just taking one lab activity related to Elastic Beanstalk. I'm just going to start the first of all, this is the AWS you have. I have very little time actually, and 90 minutes are very short. So I usually take the 2 hours to cover one topic. And right now I'm talking about 4 topics, right? The three already are, I gave some little idea about those topics, but this I'm taking means how we can implement this, or how we can use this Elastic Beanstalk. So Elastic Beanstalk, if you see in AWS management, this is a compute service. In a compute group, you can find Elastic Beanstalk. Do you find it here? So I'm clicking on Elastic Beanstalk. Definitely, Atul, you'll get very good idea about this. Okay. Now, this is the first screen you see. AWS Elastic Beanstalk, end-to-end web application management. And create application here. Click on create application. The first of all, you write the application. Let's say my webinar app, let's say. So this is the name I'm giving to my application. And if you want to give some key is my name, right? My name I'm giving here. Let's say the same name is being used here. I'm using the same name, right? This is done. You go and select the platform. What is the meaning of the platform? It's mean the code you want to run on this Elastic Beanstalk. You must have the code. So what I have, I'm just going to just see. This is where is my code I want to deploy. uh, 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 let me see, where is my code? Where is my code? Where is my code? Sorry. Okay, in webinar. Yeah, this is the code we have. Java Tomcat. So this is the code we have. So this is basically the application, and it is in zipped form. So this is the complete application we have, or maybe this is a simple website application which is written in Java. So if my website or web application written in Java, I will use to run this application Tomcat server. Definitely I can share if you allow me. Okay, not an issue. So Java Tomcat. So I have a code with the Java Tomcat, right? So what I'm doing here, the first of all, I'm just choosing the platform. If you see uh, this Elastic Beanstalk does support to .NET, it does support to Docker, does support to Glassfish, Go, Java, Node.js, PHP, Python, Ruby, Tomcat. Almost every important platform or language covered here, right? So this is the one thing. Slides are not my property, my dear. The slides are the property of Cognixia. Definitely, I'll ask them to just share on some link, right? Docker is, I'll tell you, because in between I do not want to actually the hinder in this, but Docker is a kind of the technology these days we are using, or this is a kind of an engine. Using it, you can use the software virtual operating system virtualization, or you can create containers on the top of the Docker, and the containers are lightweight virtual machines, which basically sharing your operating system. Okay, so by the way, I'm choosing the Tomcat here because my code is written in Java. I took the Tomcat platform here, so automatically you have the number of branches for this Tomcat. So if you're looking for a specific version, you can select the version. But my code is okay for 8.5, and the platform version is 4.1.1, right? So you have the number of versions here. By the way, so I need to upload the code we have. So this is the application we have, and now, so I'm just trying to upload it. I'm just trying to upload the file. So where is the file, my dear? This is the file we have, right? So Java Tomcat version 4. I'm just uploading it, and they couldn't upload unknown exception. Why? And it is saying upload successfully, right? Right. Once again, I choose the file. This is done, and I don't want to see. Okay. Okay, I'm just seeing that everything is okay, version and all. I'm not using any virtual machine. It's mean Elastic Beanstalk will create a virtual machine for this application automatically. I'm not going to create anything. I'm just providing only code we have to this Elastic Beanstalk, and the rest thing will be done by Elastic Beanstalk. Means all EC2 instances, network settings, everything will be configured by Elastic Beanstalk, right? Yeah, it takes a zip file, right? It takes zip file. Yes, IAM role can be done, because if you see configure more options here, you click on configure more options here. The source code is required. Let me see. I think this source code, I should copy this to somewhere. I think the source code is not yet available. It's saying that the code is successfully. I'm just trying to just start it once again because some error is coming on this machine. Just creating. Let me copy the code somewhere else. I'm just copying the code on desktop, right? Paste it here. Done. Maybe because of that. Now I'm just creating a machine application once again. like my app, and I'm giving like today's date, September. So this is the my app name, right? And you can see like my name, my app name, right? This is done. And you're choosing the platform. You're choosing the platform, let's say Tomcat. You're uploading it. You're just going to just upload the file. And this time the desktop I'm taking, maybe because of that, I was taking it from the wrong place. It will take, yeah, I was taking it from the wrong place. Actually, that was from my encrypted drive. So it was not uploaded through the encrypted drive. Now this has been uploaded, right? Now the code has been uploaded. It was Java Tomcat version 4. This is zip file. You have not to means upload one by one. So you can zip all the files and the one file can be uploaded. This is great. And here, I'm not talking about the configuration and the more settings here, because if you open it, you will have an option to configure auto scaling, elastic load balancer, monitoring, and EC2 instance types, software settings, everything. You can just go and just click on this. Means you can watch later, right? So create application here, and if you see, it won't take much time. And this activity definitely will take the 2 to 3 minutes time. And once this is over, you'll find this application is ready to use. So what's happening in background? So in background, Elastic Beanstalk is creating infrastructure for you. It's been, you will have EC2 instance, and you will have the network connectivity. You will have the connectivity to the database if the database is connected with the application. But for that, means first of all, you need to create a database server, and everything would be done by Elastic Beanstalk. Using Elastic Beanstalk, you have an option to control the version of the running applications too. It's mean, if you think that you have updated version of the application which is running on AWS, so you can deploy the new version of the application anytime. Because right now, let's say the version 1 you have uploaded. Later on, after some time, if you feel you have a new version of the application on a same platform, you can update the version of the application. So this way you will have the new version. But if you want to roll back application to the older version, even then that option also is available, right? So this is a great thing, and this is the biggest advantage, that this Elastic Beanstalk is free of cost. Yeah, AWS is not charging anything from you. So AWS is not charging anything or any amount for Elastic Beanstalk, of course, and you have to only pay for the resources you are using, right? Means Elastic Beanstalk, if Elastic Beanstalk is creating any EC2 instance in background, so those instances can be not free of cost. So let me see, is there any fourth instance? Is there any fourth instance? Yes. So this is the fourth instance. This is the fourth instance. Yeah. So this particular instance is created by Elastic Beanstalk. You didn't create this instance, right? Who created this instance? Elastic Beanstalk. And this instance will have your uploaded Java code. Yes, you will have uploaded Java codes in this application. So this application is still, this instance is still being initialized. That's why it's taking time, because your machine will take time for initialization, right? So once it is done, once everything is done, let me see, it is still is initializing. And what about this? I'll just try to see, right? You can see all the events here. So it is taking time. Hardly maximum 1 more minute, and within a minute you will see this deployment is completed, and you'll have the endpoint. You will have some end link to access this application online. So because, and for this this is very important, this should be configured. So it is being initialized. So this is the machine you have. So it's been Elastic Beanstalk created this machine, and whatever the software which was written in Java you provided, it has been installed on this machine using Tomcat. So this is a Tomcat server now. This is not a simple EC2 instance. This is a Tomcat configured server, and within this, this machine will have your provided Java code or Java program or Java web application. So I'm just waiting for the final call here. Let me see. Click on here. It is almost done. So Elastic Beanstalk created instance automatically. So this instance is automatically created, and this instance now has the Tomcat server. This machine is configured as a Tomcat, and this machine has your provided Java program or Java application. So this is configured. Once it is okay, once the status is 2x2 check, means later on you can access this application online. Your application must support to the database in order to connect with the database, this application, right? So if this application has a database connectivity code, and secondly, you must have a database server. So definitely you connect to the database server. Suraj. Now you can see the check status. The check status is 2x2, right? It's been this machine is ready. So once the machine is ready, so you will find the result here. You see, let me see. I'm clicking on environments. You give me 1 minute here. Yes, great. You can see this server is ready. The health of the server is okay, and your server is using Tomcat 8.5 with the Corretto 11 running on 64-bit Amazon Linux machine, right? So one more thing, I'm just going to share the link of this application. So this is the endpoint Elastic Beanstalk is sharing. So complicated tasks you can easily do in AWS. So this is the endpoint of this application I shared on chat. You please just browse it through the browser and let me know it's running or not. Sir, I'll tell you in training, means whatever the question, I'm just coming on that. And it is running perfectly, yes or no? Let me start this code on some training here. And another, yes, this is running excellently. And if you hit here on a generate traffic, it means you are just going to generate, and after that you can measure the performance of this even application here, right? So this is an extraordinary. And if you have a new code for this application, you can upload the new code or updated code from a running version. Here you have an option upload and deploy, right? You can provide a new and means updated code for this application if you have, right? So this is the one thing I think you must have enjoyed these topics. So now if you give me 5 minutes, I can answer your questions. Yes, I can answer your questions here. Could you say how database technically, if you're talking about how we can connect the database to the web application, the technically I need some time to explain you, because in order to connect your application with the database server, so that RDS server is required. Number one, you have to configure the RDS server. If you're looking for RDBMS kind of a server, maybe MySQL or Aurora or MS SQL or Oracle, right? So you must have a database server first of all, and then you will change some settings in application in order to connect your application with the database server, and definitely that can be done, right? So one more thing in last, if you don't have any questions. So first of all, this particular slide tells you about the course curriculum of AWS. We'll start with the cloud computing, then EBS, then these are the cloud computing and the virtualization we are taking in detail. Now the web services, number of web services we have in EC2 instances, technologies like EBS, CloudWatch, simple notification service, auto scaling, load balancing. I don't see the load balancing. Where is the load balancing? Yeah, load balancing is there. Then Elastic Beanstalk I'll take in with more explanation, with more examples. Then identity and access management, then S3, Glacier storages, S3 storages, EFS storages, FSX storages, and then RDS servers, and DynamoDB, Cloud Formation, Cloud Former even, and CloudFront, VPCs, and VPN, then transit gateways, a number of services we have. So we cannot write everything on this particular screen, right? So it's not possible to write everything on this screen, but the course is extensive, extraordinary. Personally, I'm just feeling that and these are the some certifications we have. So we have the basically the three verticals if you're looking for certification. The first of all is the architect, then is the operations and developers. And the most important thing of this course is we are covering the cloud practitioner also. Means if you're just attending this course, if you're just joining this course, not only you find the content of the one course, you are just going to find the content of three certifications. The first is cloud practitioner, the some part of the complete part of the AWS solution architect we are taking for associate level, and third is some part of the system operation administrator also we are just taking. But in AWS, not only this, we have the architect level of certification, like associate level of certification we have a professional level of certification in all three verticals, and we have six specialty certification in AWS, like advanced networking, machine learning, data analytics, database, Alexa skill builder, and security. AWS is tremendous. Means I don't find any alternate of means education provided. I mean, they are basically sharing the resources over their portal, and the way they are just improving their quality as well as the services, and every day they are including the new features in AWS platform. Extraordinary. So how was the session? You please just give your response, and for any query, because we have very limited time here, you please drop a mail to either the webinar@cognitia.com or support@cognitia.com, right? And you will have definitely the you will be in contact with the Cognixia team. You can directly speak them, right? I think you have enjoyed this session very much. Because of the less time, I couldn't explain you much, but this was really nice, and I saw your patience, and I saw your actually the interest too. Really very fine. Yeah, thank you everyone.